2. Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 9 of Make Podcasting Great Again. I am joined with the biggest crew we've ever had for one of these. To my left, we have our special guest of the day, Colton Hitch, the 2-in-1 man himself in 6th place, going places he's never gone before. Below me, we have the sensational KatzPom, the controversial KatzPom, the KatzPom. And as always, catty corner to me, the lovely, the beautiful, the absolutely electric Gavin Alexander. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. And Gavin, will you please play that music? All right, so let's start it off with going through a really quick weekly rundown as per usual. So
who we starting with?
We are going to start with, if I can move my deal, we're going to start with
State.
It just is me every time, I guess. The We Stink Bowl, the No Touchdowns Bowl. I believe in this game we had 3 combined touchdowns and a 2-point conversion between both teams. I stink. I hate it here. We suck. Congratulations, Colby. That's all I want to say.
It's fair to say nobody wanted to win this game between the two of you, but somebody by default had to win just by league rules.
Yeah, I mean, down performances by a lot of guys, really. I mean, Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon, who I have power ranked as the best running back group in the league, only combined for 25 points between them, both of them. So, I mean, really just kind of a bunch of off performances. I know Brady played well. Sam, anytime you pick up Teddy Bridgewater and you actually upgrade your quarterback room, that's not great.
Dude, I know my quarterback room sucks. It sucked all year. I've been trying to fix it, and I can't. I was supposed to get Justin Fields was supposed to fix it like in a couple weeks, and it's just not happening. We're going with Taylor Heineke this week. That's all you need to know about me. I suck.
Let's go.
I mean, Sam, anytime your only player who exceeded projections was DeAndre Swift, one player out of the 9 in the starting lineup, that's not great.
Final note in this matchup would also be AJ Brown leaving with a hamstring injury that's probably going to linger from Colby's team. So we'll have to see how Colby deals with that. Also, his only tight end on the roster now on the COVID list. So
yeah,
I got some stuff to say about Colby's team. I'll save it for when we actually get to the power rankings, though.
All right, last word from me, and I'm only dwelling on it because I'm salty. I basically played against 8 players the last 2 weeks, and I lost both times. So we suck. That's all I need to know. We stink. All right, let's move on to the next game. And finally, the fraud that is Commissioner Miller is exposed by his kryptonite, Mr. Austin Mexican Tapwater Davis. We love it. Davis has got Eli's number. Davis is continuously known as the worst team in the league year in, year out. And he just cannot stop beating Eli. We love it. What do we got to say, folks?
This is a classic performance by Davis when he starts Emmanuel Sanders and gets 2 touchdowns. Dude projects 7 and triples it. So
you're the kicker.
I mean, that's the kind of contribution Davis needs from his players to win games. So
I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, every time we do the position roundup, Davis has got the best kicker in the league, and it's a weapon, and it's going to help him, and it's helping him.
Let's not forget Trey Sermon only being relevant because he managed to fall forward into the end zone one time and otherwise did absolutely nothing. So,
yeah,
you gotta shed a little tear for Eli too. The one game that Zeke is actually relevant, the rest of his team forgot to show up. So,
yeah. And how do you guys feel about Saquon Barkley right now? You think he's back?
No, I think he played the Falcons.
Still trash. Okay.
I don't think Saquon's trash. I think Saquon's like 85 to 90% of what he was, which is really good. But the Giants suck. So
bingo. I think this is what you will expect from Saquon rest of season. Maybe he falls into the end zone, maybe not. Otherwise, he's getting you 80 to 100 yards just because of volume, and that's what you get.
Colton, you got anything to say about the brand with Mr. Justin Tucker breaking the kicking record for the longest field goal in NFL history?
I love seeing Austin Davis succeed. It doesn't happen often in this league, but when he does, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Also, Justin Tucker kicked the living shit out of that ball. So,
yeah.
Big
up
up
to
JT.
I love how the ball, it like had such a perfect rotation on it. It actually doinked in without breaking rotation. Like it kept, you know what I'm saying?
The difference between Justin Tucker and Cody Parkey.
He only
hit one crossbar.
Can we not disregard the fact that the opposite kicker in this matchup also had 16 points to almost cancel out?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's a kicker matchup here.
Doesn't matter. He's a Denver kicker. They're playing the Jets. Doesn't matter. It doesn't count. Fake news.
The freaking Jets.
All right. So now time for the pseudo game of the week. This was the game of the week before we decided that it wasn't the game of the week last week. And it was Nick bouncing back against Dave. And we got to give Nick some props. He basically did this without Christian McCaffrey, who only had 4 points and pulled up with a limp hammy about, 2 quarters into the game or so?
If that.
So
they were playing Zach Wilson. This isn't fair.
Mm-hmm. As good as this matchup was, and as important as it was, kind of Christian McCaffrey's the main story here when it comes to everything.
Yep. I think our last episode, Christian McCaffrey got hurt right before we aired, and we kind of talked about that. But this victory for Nick is massive. Staying in the playoff hunt while he doesn't have Christian McCaffrey, because then when he gets Christian McCaffrey back, we all agree that his team is probably the strongest in the league. So
yeah, no, Nick still has a very strong team. Definitely took a little bit of a hit in the power rankings this week. I don't think he fell as much as you might think, though.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it was very nice of Nick to be able to play Denver's defense against the Jets.
Yeah.
That kind of saved him the game. Don't want to say anything. But, I mean, the difference is Pittsburgh's defense should do well against Cincy, and they did, and Denver's defense should do well against the Jets, and they really did. So, fantasy football is just a game of eking out stuff. So, Nick ekes out a 5-point win. Defense helped out. It is what it is, right?
Only other thing I really got to say is Miles Sanders I'm a little concerned with moving forward, just because Sirianni seems like he's turning to Gainwell a little bit more now, especially when they're down in games, and that defense is really bad. So
he had 2 carries in an actual football game.
Yeah.
I would be very concerned, being that Nick might have 0 relevant running backs in that starting lineup as it is right now next week.
Yep.
For those of you
that don't know, he can always come to me. Good thing he can always come to me. I got like 8 of them. Maybe
Colton is a running back factory, but hopefully Nick is okay, but not when I play him, because I need the wins. All right, so the next game was Cody versus Kyler, and I didn't announce this, but this was actually an L game. Cody passed off the L to Kyler, so there you go.
Will he ever give it back up?
I don't know. Kyler. I like Kyler's team for the most part. He's got some dudes. Jamar Chase has been good. Lamar's been good.
He has dudes with explosive upside, but the floors on every single one of the players on his team are just 0. So you really don't know what you're going to get from anybody, which, 96 points you should be happy enough with. Didn't get him a victory this week.
Yeah, Josh Allen kind of just took a shit all over the football team's defense.
Yeah, no, Josh Allen kind of did what he did a lot of the times last year. Put up 37 points against a defense that everyone thought was going to be good. But at one point, did we just call the football team defense dead?
It's not good right now.
Yeah.
And I've looked at the past year projections. Or not projections, but final standings. Every year it goes top 10 defense, somewhere in the 20s. Top 10 defense, somewhere in the 20s. Last year's top 10 defense, time to go in the 20s this year. Might be in the 30s now.
Yeah.
Last thing from this game for Cody, he was 0-2 going into this game and still had one of the highest points scored in the league. So really good for him to actually get a victory, keep him in the playoff race, and not have a ton of points scored, but no wins to show for it early in the season.
Cody definitely feels like the type of team that's going to finish around 500 this year just because of bad luck, and it's just going to be a team no one wants to face.
Yeah,
You get one of those every single year.
This is a really good week for Kyler just because he didn't get a lot of production out of a bunch of guys, but I mean, he got a 20 piece from his defense against Chicago. You can thank Matt Nagy for that one. And you got Jamar Chase catching a touchdown in every game now. So
Jamar Chase looks really nice, really good.
Yep.
So.
I don't see Riley Ridley on here. Is he still on the team?
Oh, I think
No.
Riley Ridley is still unemployed.
Still unemployed.
So,
Think in real life.
Yeah, we might have to have him on the podcast.
Poor
sometime.
guy.
Oh, no shit.
Dog, if we could swing a Riley Ridley appearance, that would be incredible. I'll
We
DM
will
him tonight. How about
We'd
that?
have to have Kyler on too.
Oh my fucking God, could you imagine? I'll DM Riley Ridley tonight. Fuck it. We just,
Oh,
hey,
man.
Riley.
Here we go. You're up, Hitch.
Oh, Hitch, there
moment of
it is.
truth.
The game of the week. Let's go.
It was a
Hey,
barn
first of
burner,
all,
90
let
to
me
85.
start.
So for
me
anyone who
start.
didn't know, last week we decided that this was the game of the week because it's a really important game for Hitch. Hitch normally doesn't start out very hot out of the gates. Hitch doesn't normally, make the playoffs.
Okay.
And
Hitch normally isn't good.
Hitch
normally
doesn't
loses
normally
to
win the
bad
games he
teams.
should easily win.
Exactly. So this is a huge game for Hitch, not to drop one in the standings, to keep beating the teams that he needs to beat, because we know Hitch has got a good team. It just is all about winning, baby. And Hitch, you fucking won. Round of applause to Hitch, winning the game of the week. So Hitch, how
How'd you
about
do
you
it, Hitch?
take it away right here, talk your shit, and tell Drew to go fuck himself.
Hey, let me start with Drew's team is not good. He even exceeded his standards this last week, and he still talked his shit. And my team didn't play great. Jonathan Taylor had 3 points. Tyler Lockett, Jonathan Taylor had 7. Tyler had 3. Tyler got hurt after being my mainstay for the past 2 weeks. Has been literally scoring all my points, and I still pulled off the win.
Yeah.
So I also had Matt Stafford. That shit just happens, I guess. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was a good game, and Drew just wanted to talk shit, but I get it. I mean, teams are bad. You got to talk shit to, actually enjoy the season.
No, these games, Hitch, where you get one touchdown out of your skill position players and still manage a way to find a victory, those are the really, really important games throughout the course of the year. The things that help the difference between making the playoffs and missing the playoffs.
I'd also like to personally shout out Philip Lindsay for contributing less points than Robbie Anderson this week.
It's really hard to be projected 3.6 points and not meet projections, like just
5.
accidentally.
Yeah.
It's just hard. He falls
It's
into the
tough
end
to
zone.
do.
He doubles it. It's like a Zach Moss thing.
Yeah. And he'll probably start him next week because Drew's a maniac.
Hey, and he'll put $100 on him to score a touchdown too.
Mhm.
That's right.
I tell you what, folks, we love Hitch's team here. We think it's got a lot of upside. Drew's team sucks. No offense. If Cooper Kupp ever stops producing, good
He's so
God,
screwed.
what's this team gonna do?
My biggest fear for Drew would be just the fact that Robert Woods isn't doing anything right now, and that's just not going to stay the case. So regardless of how much of the pie Cooper Kupp is getting right now, Robert Woods is eventually going to start eating into that.
Just eventually. Law of averages.
Law of averages, that's right. So
He
there's
even
not a whole
got
lot to like about Drew's team here, moral of the story.
Yeah, he even got contributions out of Clyde this week.
And
Yeah.
AJ
And
Green.
AJ Green.
And AJ Green and Cup, yeah.
And Philip Lindsay.
Sammy Watkins almost missed projections too, and Sammy Watkins plays in one of the most run-heavy offenses in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I want everybody to know that the Kansas City Chiefs defense has lost their spot on my team. So
Yeah.
I've now tried
Yeah.
to waiver wire 3 teams, and I haven't gotten any of them. So
So
We're
who's
waiting-
starting a defense
What are you-
this week then, Hitch?
Whoever, if my waiver goes through tomorrow, which it's hopefully it goes through, someone else doesn't pick them up. I don't know.
That's
I
gotta
don't
be a
even.
sneaky.
I can't even tell you who it is.
That's
I
gotta
don't
be a
even know.
sneaky
Yeah,
good
you should probably
feeling
keep
though,
going with some
Hitch.
shit, man.
Knowing that you were trying to get like these top defensive plays for the week and you couldn't because you
Oh,
were
yeah.
too good. That's a
I've never
sneaky
had that
good
issue.
feeling.
Like this is the first year I've had to worry about like not getting the waivers that I wanted.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Let's move on to the next one. We
Oh,
have
no.
big
Cats,
game.
you dog.
All right.
Cats, you dog. We love it
Folks,
here, Cats. This
it's-
game was for the unofficial championship of the league. TCAM had held that belt for the first 2 weeks, dating back to last year, too. And Mr. Katzenberg, you are the champ.
Yeah,
Take it
yeah.
away.
I mean, it took 3 weeks to get really warmed up, but now the 2021 Booty Bandits have arrived. I mean, clearly. First of all, I mean, Jonnu Smith, he can fuck off. I'm done with Jonnu Smith. I've divorced
Robbie
Jonnu
Anderson.
Smith. Robbie Anderson can I got a positive spin zone for Robbie now that now that Chris McCaffrey's hurt, a lot of those targets are going to be spread elsewhere. And Matt Rule even said that he wants Robbie Anderson more involved in the offense. So maybe eventually, but for now, he's going to take a seat on my bench. Outside of that, really great game out of Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has been due for this kind of game for a while now. I mean, he's thrown in over 300 yards in every game except this one. He just happened to have 4 touchdowns this game. Touchdowns are so random. Robert Woods still not where I want him to be. Cole Beasley is a good spot start just because he gets a ton of targets and the ceiling's really low or really high. But outside of that, I mean, even lost my starting running back. Turns out Alexander Madison remains one of the best backup running backs in the league. So
Elite handcuff. Lots
Yeah,
of benefits.
elite handcuff.
What does your backup running back situation look like? Because I know Gibson is kind of questionable at the moment, and I guess what's your plan there? Because then you also have the fact
we got a Michael Carter.
So yeah,
Okay.
my plan really, I mean, Michael Carter. Now he was in a hell matchup last week, and his projection is going to drop down after this week. But Michael Carter, I think, is going to eventually take over the backfield. And if I need a running back too, he's my spot start. Maybe he just gets a touchdown or something.
Yeah, the good thing is you have that one spot completely locked down with the Madison Cook combination.
Exactly. And it was nice to see really good performance out of Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson was faced with probably one of the worst game scripts he's going to have all season. They were getting blown out. And he still manages a receiving touchdown. So maybe this will kind of show Ron Rivera that Antonio Gibson's still very good in the pass game.
He can do it.
So, yeah, 73-yard touchdown.
How about Ayuk? You gonna talk about Ayuk?
And Ayuk has finally arrived, folks. He's entering my starting lineup next week. Kyle Shanahan finally decided that it's a good idea to play your best receiver.
Yeah.
How many yards did he have?
100 some it looked like.
I don't know. He had like 8 targets.
Oh, he had a touchdown and 37 receiving
37
yards.
yards.
Yeah, he had a bunch of
So
So
targets.
if he doesn't
though.
score
It
a
is-
touchdown,
He was the playing
Better
as
than
the wide
Robbie,
receiver
though.
one.
Yeah.
Plus,
True.
Robbie Debo left with an injury for most of that game too. So Debo doing his typical Debo stuff. So that'll open up even more targets for Ayuk to take.
Yeah.
But yeah. So congratulations though, Cats. That was a big win.
Yep.
Glad that all of us except me are on the win sheet. As for TCAM, I think it's the same old. He's the ex-champ. He won a ton of games in a row. He still put up 94 points with Tyreek Hill only putting up 4-7 and CeeDee Lamb going 6-5.
Are we getting worried about Tyreek Hill, by the way?
A little bit, yeah. As a Chiefs fan, a little bit.
And back to back. I think it is kind of
Daniel.
telling that the Chiefs have lost both the games that Tyreek Hill's held in check. So like maybe this is kind of like I said it last week, it's kind of a blueprint game for the Chiefs is shutting down Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I don't want to get sidetracked on this, but the apparent the cover 2 defense just getting invented this season and the announcers just blowing it out of proportion. is really astonishing to me.
I have
And
noticed
so
that.
when they play with 2 high safeties, apparently that's
Bro,
all
that's
you
never happened before. Never in
I
the
know.
history of football.
I have noticed that too. I'm glad you pointed
like
that out.
Devontae Adams is going to be shut down in this game because they're playing with the 2 high safety shell. So where is there to throw the ball left on the field?
Fucking everywhere else. That's where
How
you
big those
throw
zones
it.
are in Madden?
Check
massive.
down to Kelsey.
All right. And also, just to further abbreviate my pain and suffering as I scroll down here, I told Gavin before today's game that I couldn't not start DeAndre Swift this week, but I knew starting James Robinson was the play, but I couldn't do it. And now James Robinson is damn near 20 points. So, you know what? That's my own fault. I should have just done it, but who knows? DeAndre Swift's going for 25. How about that? And speaking of Gavin, perfect segue to his ass whipping
Absolutely.
Nicholas
Holy shit.
Fox. So bad that he changed his logo to the crying Jordan meme.
That's right. So
How about you take it away here, Gav?
Takeaways for my team, for me in this game, was Ryan Tannehill was throwing to 3 unemployed dudes and a homeless guy and still managed to put up 21 points. So that was Devontae Adams stepping right back up into the wide receiver 1 chair that he has had this whole time, just finally showing it this year.
They didn't play 2 high safeties, Gavin.
No shit. That's that was good to see. Najee Harris getting 1,100 targets and 32 rushing attempts was good to see, and that finally turning into more fantasy points. He didn't even have a touchdown in this game. He seriously just had 19 targets.
You got tight end now, Gavin. You got tight end.
Yeah, nope. Tyler Higbee was a good trade for me. He scored a touchdown this week. That's going to be fluky. But regardless, he's on a good offense. He's running. He's out there for 100% of the routes or 100% of the plays. He's going to have good weeks. Chase Edmonds just continuing to be there and not score touchdowns, which is fine. But he did get a goal line carry. So that was a good thing. And I have the wide receiver too in fantasy and Mike Williams. So there's really
I hate Mike Williams.
I hate Mike Williams too. And I told you
He's such a dick.
Contract year. Every year it's wide receivers on contract years just are amazing.
Yep, and I didn't even get much help out of my kicker and defense in this matchup. Now, of course,
you got more of it than Fox.
Yeah, Fox actually managed to have so many points scored against his defense that he stopped getting points negated because it stops at 35 plus points. So the final touchdown didn't even hurt Fox because they felt bad for him.
Yeah, no, Fox picking Washington defense in the 8th round is early candidate for worst draft pick. even with Riley Ridley.
Yeah, I would also like everyone.
Riley Ridley's not contributing negative.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like Riley Ridley should just be excluded. That's like an all-time thing. Like he wins MVP for that. We gotta choose like an offensive player of the year though.
Yeah.
Slightly the bigger gut punch that Fox threw at me after this matchup though was sending me a trade with Damian Harris for Brandon Cooks, who's a wide receiver 1 in fantasy right now, and a sizable pick upgrade that I'm losing. So that was a fun trade to get from
Fox. Sends the best trades, doesn't he?
I know.
I'm still so salty you took Brandon.
He always tries to spin zone to me like it's something I would actually do. And I'm like, no.
He asked me if T. Higgins was available. I'm like, no. Like, no. I'm trying to win still. I'm 0-3, but I'm still trying to win.
Gavin, I do have a question. Is Allen Robinson sitting on the bench this week?
No, actually, they're playing Detroit. I don't think that we will see.
Game, then.
We will see historically the worst offense in the century, and not in the century, like going back 100 years, the worst offensive performance. 1 yard per play was what the Chicago Bears put up this weekend.
Also, they net 1 yard on passing plays, a yard.
Yes.
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky had net 1 yard too. That was.
I don't think it really matters. He's still got 6 targets. I don't think it really matters who they put at quarterback, to be honest, when they're playing Detroit this next week. I think that'll be a good bounce back game for Allen Robinson. The problem is, to be honest with you, Brandon Cooks is going to be shadowed by Tre'Davious White, and Deontay Johnson is coming off of the injury, so it's not great timing to bench Allen Robinson, but it's not like playing to. If I'm not going to play Allen Robinson against Detroit, I'm never going to play Allen Robinson. So this is the time for him to prove himself and stay on my team or go sit on Fox's team and produce the same thing Julio is.
Was that the last matchup, by the way?
Yes, that is. So let me stop the share. Let's get you sharing, and let's make sure we get through. We haven't hit time yet. I know we probably went a little bit long. We love to hear ourselves talk over in these streets.
All right.
Moral of the story is congrats, Colton.
Yay. Colton.
Colton.
All right, here we go. Ready? KatzPom power rankings. Week 4. We'll start with the trade. We only had one trade, and it was kind of a dud of a trade. But it was me and Cody. I mean, Cody secured his running back handcuff for Aaron Jones. Came at a good time because Aaron Jones didn't. I don't think he practiced today. Is that right?
I don't remember, but I remember he was kind of not practicing.
Yeah, but he
get a handcuff.
He gave me a 2-round pickup grade. Only reason I have him as winning the trade is I feel like, I mean, securing your running back handcuff is more than a 2-round pickup grade. Cody accepted this trade on the spot, and that's when I'm like, damn it, I should have asked more. That's why I have it as a B and not more.
Oh,
but
I
was
did.
Going to use AJ. The plan was for Aaron Jones to get hurt a little earlier in the year, and then I was going to trade him to Cody when he absolutely needed him for more. But then didn't really work out how I wanted to. I also thought AJ Dillon would have more involvement in the offense, but it seems like it's just all Aaron Jones.
Yeah, they really are kind of leaning into this whole. I know it's kind of cliche at this point, but the whole last dance thing, it feels like they're leaning into that. I feel like if there wasn't any Rodgers and Adams drama at all during the offseason, he probably would be more involved.
Yeah. All right. But let's get to the actual power ranks. We changed the format entirely of this. I think there's going to be more talking points now that I broke it down like this, but every team is broken down by the position they're ranked and the movement. So
okay.
We'll start with Sam's. Sam, I mean, your running back went up a little bit. I think that's really just because James Robinson showed that he's definitely starting to look like that dude.
Yeah, he's showing it right now. My bench too.
Yeah,
Carlos Hyde was a healthy scratch tonight too. So going forward, if that stays,
you get the Bengals. Oh,
yeah, okay. But it's I have Swift though.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I was starting the Bengals defense tonight. And I don't want to start my running back against my defense.
Okay,
it was a poor decision.
But I mean, really, Sam, I don't think there's much to talk about your team. I am starting to get a little bit concerned about Kyle Pitts. But
yeah, same. The only good thing I've seen is that he has like the 5th most routes run by tight ends or something. I get running routes doesn't equal fantasy points, but you would think eventually he would just walk his way into some like 15-point game at some point. You would hope.
He will.
He hasn't played football in a year, right?
No, he played last year. Tight ends just take a long time to get adjusted. I figured that he had more of a wide receiver skill set, and they would use him more like Jimmy Graham. But Matt Ryan just hates throwing to him. So
Matt Ryan stinks. So
yep.
Go ahead.
All right, we'll kind of fly through it, but Eli took a little bit of hit on the quarterback just because Kyler had a bad game against the Jags, and Josh Allen had a really good game, and I think Josh Allen kind of beats out Kyler Murray at this point in the year. I had a lot of movement from a lot of dudes. I just feel so much better about Herbert now that he actually had a 30-point game. Feel better about my running backs now that Antonio Gibson pulled his head out of his ass and had a good game. Ayuk has arrived. That's kind of what that +1 for the receiver is. Tight ends, we're giving up on Jonnu. I'm done with Jonnu. Defense, I was not expecting the Saints to be the number 1 defense 3 weeks in. So, but there's that kicker, kind of whatever. Gavin literally had virtually no movement outside of a good performance by his tight end, and it's pretty much
next week he'll have a shitty performance and be back down to tight end 11.
We'll see.
He's still more consistent. I don't try to overreact with people with these power rankings, but
by the way, my favorite thing about having the 9th best running back room is they're there because they have no ceiling and they will never fall any further below 9 because of their volume, and I'm just kind of stuck there. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But T-Cam, I would put the wide receiver 2 slot as kind of okay, now you got to prove it, Tyreek.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to get a little concerned with Tyreek Hill, but still I left him at the exact same. Donkey Punch pretty much the exact same. Drew, I highlighted the 5 on the defense because if you thought it could get worse, Drew's lineup is getting worse. Like it's pretty crazy. And then some other people. We'll kind of stop and talk about hitches. I did want to point out the big number 7 there. I think that's the biggest mover of the week. That's because CMC went down. And now it looks like Miles Sanders might not be an every week start. So, yeah. I mean, I did drop into running back 8. That could very easily go down after this.
Could go to RB9, and you could say the RB9.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. But I just completely forgot to do Cody's team, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. No one cares. It's all good.
Fox's team is
He's got a kid.
Same.
He does have a kid.
That's pretty much it. All right, let's get to Hitch's team. Hitch, I do have one thing to say. I mean, you're probably looking at the quarterback going down a spot and being like, what the fuck are you smoking? Like, he had a really good game. Really, that's just because we had other contributions from quarterbacks. Like, I actually feel better about Matt Stafford this week. I don't think the down 1 in a power ranking adjustment does him justice. But
the gap is pretty small, I would imagine.
The gap is very small, and all of these are based on your position rank amongst the rest of the league. So, like, theoretically, his composite score for a quarterback would have gone up, but he still would have dropped the spot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, Hitch, how do you feel about your team right now?
Matt Stafford is doing exactly what everybody thought he would. Like, leave Detroit, go to Los Angeles, and be, pretty fucking good. What else we got? Justin Jefferson's good. I mean, that's just it.
Your team is good.
How do you feel about your running back room, Hitch? Because you have a lot of guys, and you're still the running back 5th room, but that's mostly just because of the guys that you have that have a high ceiling haven't been scoring. Are you worried about that?
I will say.
Go ahead.
I will say that the running back room is one that I'm a little bit concerned about now. I think this is the last week of me just kind of blindly having faith in these guys. Because Jonathan Taylor, if you saw it last week, I'm pretty sure he only had like 10 carries.
Yeah, I think.
And he's going to need the offense to improve to get more carries.
Yeah, because
this is what I get.
Losing games.
That was why I was so hesitant on Jonathan Taylor. Was we know they were going to use a running back by committee, and they even paid their other running back this year. So
we should have known this.
Yeah.
I picked him in the first round.
That's
my first
round. You got to
round
trade
pick.
him, Hitch. You just got to let him succeed.
I can't do that because he's going to go to Gavin and destroy for 3 weeks.
No, let him come to my team. I need him worse. Actually, no, I don't. But the running back's the only good part about my team.
Yeah. Kansas City's gone. Tired of dealing with that shit. They stink.
Yeah.
Their defense stinks. And I don't know what Spagnuolo is doing, but
dropped them all the way down to the last ranked defense.
Kind of ass.
So, but that's that. Colby's team took a huge hit from AJ Brown. That's his that might be his highest end wide receiver. I mean, it is his highest end wide receiver there. I mean, that's just a really tough loss.
Yeah.
I think by the power ranking standard, it actually affected his team more than CMC going down for Nick, just the way his team's built. But
you also have Debo possibly banged up, and so you lose your top 2 receivers just like that.
When isn't Debo banged up though?
That was the risk of him relying on Debo. So
now the actual power rankings here before we get to the Q&A with Hitch.
Yes, sir.
There they are. So we got Hitch all the way shot up to number 2.
Oh my!
Let's go, Hitch.
I will say the separation of 0.02 points is literally like so minuscule. Like. I can't
even see an obvious tier.
They're pretty much identical at that point. We do also have our first tie of the power rankings history.
Let's go. We're playing this week too. Me and Cody are playing this week.
Oh man,
winner gets the 8 spot.
Winner gets the 8 seed. We make the we get the buy in the consolation bracket.
I'm the biggest mover up this week. Went all the way from 9 to 5. I think I do have a playoff team if we can just keep it together. And not have. I'm not even gonna jinx myself.
All right. Well, let's move to the questions real quick. We only got about 3 minutes. I know we had some questions that got phoned in. We asked for questions on our Twitter account. The first question comes from the man himself, Colton. He's asking if his hairline is going to affect his team's depth. So what say you? Is your hairline going to affect your team this season, Hitch?
Yes.
I don't think that was the question. I said the integrity. If my team's integrity matches my hairline integrity, are we worried? And yes, we are, because my hairline integrity is bad, and therefore I don't trust my team week to week.
Just like your hairline.
So yeah, just like my hairline, we don't know what's going to happen.
Follow-up question: Are you going to become a full-time hat guy?
Already there.
Already there. Oh
yeah, can't wear to one to work.
Wow.
That's tough day to day. But you do a little swoop over and it's game on. Okay, enough about my hairline.
we got a question from the reigning champ and the undisputed unofficial champion. Do you plan on making a trade? If you get in a position, are you going to be a buyer, a do-nothinger, or potentially a seller for some odd reason?
I thought if I hit like 4-1, I might legitimately buy. But if it's the opposite, I'm going to sell like no one's ever seen before.
I don't know how you can. You're 2-1, so what do you got to get to sell? Like 2 and 5 or something?
We got to really have a tough week.
Running back upgrade. If you want a running back upgrade, I always got Chase Edmonds sitting over here for Jonathan Taylor. So
one thing he doesn't need is running backs.
No thanks.
All right, and how do you respond to Drew Moline calling your week 3 win a fluke? Would you like to say Drew?
Drew's team is a fluke. It has zero integrity. It has less integrity than my hairline. So take that as you will.
Counterpoint. I think there's a lot of integrity. I think putting up like 80 points a week. I mean, I think that's exactly.
Consistent.
Absolutely consistent.
Yeah, I think him cresting 80 points was kind of the outlier performance here, and we're gonna start to see some below 80 performance weeks coming up.
Rip Fox week 1. All right, well, we're under a minute, folks. I think we're going to can the outro music for today because I think we're going to
I got to put Drew on blast one more time.
All right, last word.
Okay, if you said last week was a fluke, what does that make your other weeks? Didn't you put up like 105 and 110?
He was playing Fox. Doesn't count.
Okay.
That's true. Right. Fox has no defense.
All right,
Fox doesn't have any integrity.
That's all we got. Drew's team sucks. Congrats, Hitch. We'll see you guys next time.